In this episode, you'll receive a breakdown of the quote: "The purest of beings will tap into savage extremes." And hey, you may have heard this quote before, but it's always new. Welcome to Energy Alignment for Entrepreneurs, the podcast helping entrepreneurs be free from anxiety, stress, and tension through balancing emotions and consciousness expansion. 3 things you'll discover today: how extremes can be used to douse the fire of a reaction. Ooh, haha. Why you need to be sensitive to your energetic radiation, and what to do if you have a trigger that keeps hooking you in. Okay, we'll start with the quote. "The purest of beings will tap into savage extremes, the most savage of extremes." This means, well, honestly, what does it mean to you, right? Because there's a way of carrying energy that is not personal, okay? Because when we talk about savage extremes, even the word savage, it implies something almost potentially unpleasant, doesn't it? Same thing with a extreme. But the beauty of the word balance is that it cannot be so without the edge of the spectrums. You know, and you've heard this quote, I'm pretty sure you've heard something of this quote before. But in order to have the fruit of heaven, you have to touch the depths of hell. That's where this comes from. If you're not open to being brought low, you can never have the strength, the courage, the openness, the stillness required to reach heights. Because the same energy which brings you low is the same fuel which repels you to the moon, propels you into the sky, the heavens. And it's that openness, that honesty with self, that awareness of what you are on a moment-to-moment basis that opens your heart to surrender. See, the fruit of life isn't all in surrender, but it's not all in the self, the me, the doer. It's a symbiosis between the two, which create the one. And if you're not open, courageous to feeling what you are in those moments where you don't want to be that, how are you ever going to open yourself up to the gateways that are deep within? Because as a being, right, we're not human doings. You didn't create your vessel, you know? We have doctors, we have PhD, we have scientists, we have people who, engineers designing submarines, jets, rockets. We have Musk, okay? We have so many architects. We have so much knowledge in humanity, but there's not a single human who designed this planet. And if we solely operate via the humanity, then we lose the essence of creation, the thing which built humanity. But if humanity can learn how to have a symbiosis in a dance with truth, with creation, with the essence which made the avatar such, only then do we have the capacity, the frequency to create a real beautiful world. A world where no one starves. A world where humans understand how to behave, how to neutrally play on a moment-to-moment basis, where there isn't attachment, there isn't offense, there isn't a motive, but it is as if every human being is dancing to that rhythm, to that one song. And of course, it'll make itself known in many different forms, and that's the beauty. That's why we're all here, to realize that we've been invited to play a game, and it's up to us to learn how to listen to that one song, because there's only one song. And you can never do this. You can never change your behavior, your relationship to this world, to everything which breathes and has a heart, unless you feel what you are in the depths of your heart, the depths of your gut, the depths of your mind. But when you watch your psyche and you open yourself up to being vulnerable, innocent, immovable, That means that you're extraordinarily vital. You're never one thing. It radiates throughout you. And every single thing that every single breathing aspect of this world that you come into contact with, it speaks to you if you'll watch, if you'll listen, if you'll notice. Now, three things you'll discover today: how extremes can be used to douse the fire of a reaction. Well, listen, right? This is super important for family matters or people whom you have grown familiar with because memory is a very practical part of your brain. Memory is tangible. The way that your brain operates, you can feel it where you have your memory working. And that's what creates your relationship to your life. But what if you operate in your life from a freedom, from a space that isn't so small as who you think yourself to be? And you're open to questioning who you think yourself to be and who you think others to be. I'll tell you a story just building off this, right? Because I have my family members, I live with my sisters, and the relationship that I have with them, it's so beautiful to see how it's changing, it's ever changing. And they're at a point in their life where they may not be openly willing to tell me, "Hey, Justin, you're helping me." But you know what? I can feel it because they will have moments where it's like they're not, I won't say it like they're acting like me. I'll say it that they're shining that freedom. I can see it in the way that their words change, their tones change, the way that they speak changes. Now, this isn't something I'm attached to. I can just see that they're changing, and it warms my heart to realize that how I'm moving is affecting this world and it's seeping into people. Now, I don't know how many, I don't know. And see, this is where the lack of attachment is necessary. Because the moment that I think that I'm someone who can, help others, then I'm not helping anyone because I'm not free. But if I move and then I just get subtle moments that warm my heart, those keep you going. Those subtle moments. You don't need to talk to anyone. It's like if you buy some lemonade from a child at a lemonade stand. You don't go and tell, "Oh, hey, I gave a kid $500 for their lemonade today." You don't tell people that. You just do it. When you send money to people in Africa, you don't tell people about that. You just do it. Why? Because if you're telling people about it, then there's some form of like, eh. So let me get back. I just wanted to share a little story essentially. And maybe it's multiple stories. Hey, forgive me. So, the extremes are beautiful because you can dance around the fire, right? You almost become, I don't know how many of you have watched the show Avatar, but I'll give you a little breakdown for the people who haven't, which is Avatar is essentially like a bender of elements. A bender means someone who can dance with the elements, someone who can, oh, I won't use the word control because that's not what a bender is, but an airbender or a waterbender, etc. People who understand energetic vibration. This is your relationship to extremes. Because if you're in contact with a fiery situation, sometimes you have to be able to bend their fire so that they feel their own flame and then they learn through that, right? Oh, baby, that's a good one. But that's that's how this stuff works. Like, and you're not bending their fire to burn them. You're bending it so that they can just feel what they're sharing. And then maybe they learn through that, maybe they don't. That's where your stillness, your freeness comes into the fold. Because if you're attached to others learning, then you're not going to be able to teach. And if you think that you're a teacher, then you're not going to be able to teach. Okay. Now, why you need to be sensitive to your energetic radiation. This is, it is, it's, so if you're sensitive to your own energetic radiation, then you can feel your own flame, right? And if you can feel your own flame, then you can feel the flame of others' reactions. And if you live your life in a way where you're aware of both your energy and others' energy, then you can hold space. You can hold space for that energy to culminate, to change, to grow, to purify. And when you are someone who is spacious yet precise, spacious yet diabolically locked in. You know, this is why we talk about the quote, savage extremes. How can I use the word purity in the same sentence as savage? Well, because someone who's pure may have to be a savage, and someone who is a savage isn't attached to being pure. And the moment that you are someone who is attached to being pure, you're totally unpure. That's not how that's not how enlightenment, quote unquote, enlightenment works. Yeah, that's not how it works. Like, don't believe me. But if you feel anything that I'm saying, if this hits home in your heart, then I don't have to tell you what's true. You can feel it in your heart. You know what I mean? That's why I say don't believe me. Because if you can feel something to be true, you'll notice your own reaction, which is the mask guarding you from waking up to your truth. But you'll see that the mask needs to be here, else you would just poof away. You wouldn't be a human. Your vessel, you know? So it's that dance of, wow, I'm wearing a mask. I have to have a mask, but I can take it off. And I don't need to wear the mask. And it's like, interesting. So then you know when to wear it, you know when to take it off. This is another quote that I love. You know when to do what? I don't take credit for these quotes. Now, what to do if you have a trigger that keeps hooking you in? It's a toughie, right? I'll give you a story. I used to always feel tension in my body, in my vessel, in my gut, whenever I would hear dogs barking. And now my relationship is still, it's a bit funny, right? Now I kind of wonder, I'm like, it's confusing to me how humans let their dogs just stay outside and bark like that. But all simultaneously, I don't like hold on to it. I'm just like, I guess that's where we're at as humanity. I guess people aren't aware of, like, hey, if you have a dog, it's pretty much your responsibility to pay attention to the dog. And if it's barking, it's telling you something. Now, I'm not saying you need to force your dog to never bark. I'm just saying, if you let a dog scratch and bark at a window all the time and you're home, or even if you're not home, it's like, what if that dog breaks out of the window and then attacks someone, right? Like, do you even consider that? I don't know. But this is the part of the awareness. It's like you see, I'm not scared. I'll tell you this. If a dog were ever to break out of the window and truly attack, and I had to, I'll snap its neck. Quick, fast, easy. But if I didn't have to, I'd just defend myself, right? And ideally, I wouldn't have to snap its neck. That's the last thing I want to do. But I'm just telling this between you and I. That's the savage right there. You see, I say this with love. I would never want that to happen. But if need be, you have to have the darkness, that strength, which comes from how do we put it? Darkness isn't the word. It's more of a openness to do what needs to be done. And this is like a Christ-like essence, not me, but I'm saying what Christ had to do in his life, what all avatars have to do in their lives is sometimes they have to cut things down, right? Sometimes they have to end certain things. And it takes a certain energy, a certain vitality to realize, oh man, something needs to be absolutely cut. That's not always, the most lovely thing. But in that is beauty. In that is love. In that is life. So, when you have these triggers that hook you in, it's a openness to notice how your reactions corrupt, how your judgments, right? See, now when the dogs bark, I'm like, what can I do, right? Like, I can't do anything. So you start to realize that you're helpless with a lot of situations in life. And that is one of the most freeing things ever. It's hard because your mind, your ego, your sense of self, the me, the I, does not want to be helpless. And this is where to be helpless, you mustn't be dependent on others because there's levels, right? There's healthy helplessness, whereas I can't control whether a dog barks. I can't control how other people live their lives. But I do understand that I don't need to be dependent on others for how I live my life. So it's like this real helplessness in very simple matters where you just don't even give thought to the things, to the essence of control. You don't seek to control. You're open. You're free. You know, the desire to control is what it kills your heart. That's what corrupts you. And the real strength comes from the only thing that you can ever do, and that's letting go. Learning to let go makes you someone who doesn't need to control anything. And what happens when you don't control? Then you no longer waste energy, right? And when you don't waste energy, what happens to that energy which you used to waste? It goes somewhere. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that. You do the rest by yourself. I'm not going to put this all into words because some of it is just beyond language. But I'm doing my best to absolutely hint at that which is nameless, that which is unmovable. And I'm not trying, you know what I mean? I just have to add that in there. This is very fun to me. This is very refueling and beautiful for me. So hopefully maybe you get something similar. Recap. How extremes can be used to douse the fire of a reaction. Ultimately, we aren't going to judge the reaction. We're going to feel it. And when you feel it and you don't control the reaction, then you learn. You learn through seeing what you are. Why you need to be sensitive to your energetic radiation? Well, every ounce of energy that you put out is going to come back to you. And this is the game of learning. It's not always the easiest. Sometimes we make quote unquote mistakes, but those mistakes are for your learning. So it's okay. This whole game, it's about learning, real learning. Learning has nothing to do with memorization. Now, what to do if you have a trigger that keeps hooking you in? It's honestly just that vitality which comes from noticing how you make your state feel so rigid by wanting it to change, by wanting it to be different, by resisting the trigger. But if you hear the dog barking and you just listen to the dog barking and you notice what it creates in you, then maybe you learn, then maybe you change, then maybe something within you opens and unlocks. Summary? Hey, what can I say? I appreciate you. I love you. Let's go. Keep showing up. Change, change, change. And be open. I don't know what else to tell you. Thank you for listening. Keep showing up here. I'm going to do my best all the time to share with you what needs to be shared. So let's do it together. Now, new episodes are out Monday, Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to learn more, just check the description below. You'll get the details on how I can potentially help you be free from anxiety, stress, tension, create a life that is of this essence, right? I can't talk this talk without walking the walk, baby. So I got the real results. Under this shirt, well, you probably can't see the video, but the man is ripped. And the man is not perfect, right? I'm not saying I don't get trapped. I'm not saying my life is just always just wow, beyond words. Sometimes it has a lot of words. Sometimes I rant. And hey, that's okay too. But if you want to do this work with someone who's real, genuine, and serious about helping you see the unconscious things and turn the deeper inner workings conscious for you so that your heart can expand, you can have the best body ever for yourself, the most beautiful and genuine, lively relationships, and just no longer be someone who's weak, but absolutely radiate a essence of strength, purity, power, and love, then hey, I mean, let's do the work. Just, all the details are below. Speak soon. Woohoo!